attempt number 2 because apparently I can't minimize this window and continue filming. So that's fun. Okay, so I'm filming this on my laptop, so I know the camera quality is not great, and I'm sorry for the glasses glare. I need new glasses and I can't see without them. But honestly, if you're watching my videos, you're probably not here for the video quality, considering I normally film on my phone. I have okay lighting when I'm in the bathroom, which is not always, and I don't edit. Honestly, most of why I post these days is because it entertains me and I find it fun. And if somebody else is enjoying it, that's great. And if you want to comment on any of it, I would love to hear your comments. But yeah, this is going to be an anticipated reads video. I've got my phone because I had to queue up Goodreads on my phone. It's a thing. So I wouldn't say like most anticipated reads, but these are all the books that I know are coming out or supposed to come out in 2025 that I'm interested in. I'm going to try to read. So it's one of the things that I still use Goodreads for. I mostly use Storygraph these days, but I still use Goodreads for that. And for series, and you can like follow authors and they'll send you emails when new books come out. Or like when something on your shelf is out. My hair is annoying me today. But yeah, I probably won't get to most of these. I never do. I'm gonna try. I have pre-ordered as many of them as I can from the libraries. I think I have one book pre-ordered from Amazon. Oh, I'll add Elizabeth Wheatley is coming out with a book in like February. Tears of the Wolf or something like that I want to read, but it's not on pre-order yet, and I didn't see it on Goodreads either. Remind me to look that up at the end of this video. This year, I'm going to attempt to not add things to this list once we hit January 1, which is like tomorrow. Unless it's the next book in a series and it's not out yet. I have 113 books on this list before January 1. That is the most. Like, I have more books than that on the 2024 list, but I added stuff to that throughout the year that was coming out later in the year, you know? This is the most I have had on one of these lists since I started making them before the year started. Like, it's insane how many books that are interesting to me are coming out next year. So, I have tea because my voice is going to hate this. And I'm going to try. I have Goodreads up on my phone, and I'm going to try to like show you stuff. If there's like a cover or anything. I fell. I'm sitting on my bed. I fell and hit my elbow in the wall, and I haven't fixed it yet. So we're gonna pretend that's not there. But yeah, let's get into this because it's already 3 minutes in, and I haven't talked about a book yet. So the first book on here is The Unders by Eugene Lee Yang. Come on, can you do that thing? Of course, my phone is being uncooperative. He is one of the Try Guys that they used to do on BuzzFeed, and then they started their own channel. He's not really doing much on there anymore because he's doing other stuff, but this is one of the other things. This is the first book in a series. It's supposed to come out this year. It just says a twisted queer fantasy in which a group of teens band together to stop a war between the human and the magical world. It's supposed to be spring 2025, but we don't have a publication date. We don't have a cover. Yeah. And then the other one that just says, I have them sorted on here by date published edition. So, yeah. I try to have them as like the American edition or the English edition or whatever, but that's not always the case. The next one in on here is Letha by C.M. Nascosta. This is book. For some reason, Goodreads decided this is not a book, so the entry only exists if you already had it on a shelf. It's something stupid. I don't know. But Letha by C.M. Nascosta. This is the next book in the Cambric Creek series. This is supposed to be a... Let's see. Okay, this is Ladybug, who's a witch, and who's the... There is another book. So C.M. Nascosta has multiple series in the Cambric Creek universe, and there was a book that followed this character. Okay, this says Letha is the third volume Cambric Creek Coven Wheel of the Year and comes after the Mabon Feast and Hexaknot. I'm very confused. Hold on. Because I thought this was... I hadn't read this before, but I think this is the same book that I've read. Okay, so her Wheel of the Year series, or their Wheel of the Year series, is in Cambric Creek. And I have read the book in that series, The Mabon Feast, which follows Ladybug, who is a witch. And that came out in 2021. So I'm mildly confused. And I'm trying to figure out, because this seems to follow the same character. I am so confused. Well, anyway, I'll have to figure this out another time because I spent way too much time on this one confusing book. But Letha, Litha, is supposed to come out sometime this year. It's supposed to be book 3 in the Wheel of the Year, so maybe they're going back to that character. I don't know. I need to figure out what's going on with that. Anyway, moving on. Everybody's already been talking about this. Adrift in Currents, Clean and Clear by Seanan McGuire. This is supposed to be out January 7th. Excuse me. This is book 10 in the Wayward Children series. It's a series of novellas. They're portal fantasy. I am not planning to read you guys the synopsis for every one of these books. Some of them have like... Can you see this? There we go. Some of them have like a blurb that's like bolded. I was going to show you guys the covers on my phone, but I don't know if my phone's going to cooperate with that. Maybe I'll do covers. So I might read that. I might tell you like the buzzword of why I'm interested in it or whatever. I'll try to give you something for each book. But this one is Adrift in Currents, Clean and Clear by Seanan McGuire. Supposed to come out January 7th. Book 10 in the Wayward Children series. It's the next book in the series. This one says, Giant turtles, impossible ships, and tidal rivers ridden by a drowned girl in search of a family in the latest in the best-selling Hugo and Nebula award-winning Wayward Children series from Sean McGuire. And this is what the cover looks like. Oh, okay, this is not going as well as anticipated as far as that goes. Yeah, like I said, anything that my libraries have available, I have pre-ordered. The next one is Mood Machine, The Rise of Spotify and the Costs of the Perfect Playlist by Liz Pelly. Nice thing with nonfiction is I'm going to give up on trying to show you all the covers. Nice thing about nonfiction is those subtitles give you a nice little blurb of what the book is. This is also supposed to come out January 7th. It says, with unprecedented access and unsparing analysis, this is the definitive investigation into Spotify, weaving interviews with incisive cultural criticism and illuminating how streaming has reshaped music for listeners and artists alike. This one sounded kind of interesting. Book Olive talked about it, and the way she described it, it sounded interesting to me, so we'll see. We're just going to assume January 7th until further notice. The next book is The Unbecoming of Margaret Wolf by Issa Arson. There is a giveaway on Goodreads to win a Kindle copy. Oh, that's why I was interested in this. Shakespeare. A sexy, atmospheric mid-century novel about two Shakespearean actors in an unusual marriage during one summer that will drive them closer than ever or rip them apart for good. So if I haven't already... I don't know if I'll pre-order this, but I probably will end up buying like a hard copy of it for my Shakespeare shelves. But that would be why I'm interested in that. This one, there's a lot of... I'm really enjoying this new romantasy genre. Because I like regular fantasy too, but I do like what we're now calling romantasy. And I'm really enjoying all of it that we're getting. And the covers and the pretty edges and everything. And there's a lot of that coming out next year, so that's one reason why there's so much. So we have Breath of the Dragon by Shannon Lee and Fonda Lee. This is the first book in a new series, the Breathmarked series. The first novel in a sweeping YA fantasy duology based on characters and teachings created by Bruce Lee. I think dragons is why I was interested in this. The cover is also cool. Have it in an angle you can kind of see. Yeah. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted to do. I keep hitting the wrong button. The next one is Bemused. Can you finish loading? This is going to be a really long video. Y'all give me a snack. Bemused by Pharaoh Roshan. This is a backstory or whatever of the 5 muses from Disney's Hercules, which was one of my favorite Disney movies as a kid. I still really like it. Like, I can't not read this. This is going to be great. It's an origin story. That's what you call it. Okay, this one I have heard so many people talking about. It's called The Stolen Queen by Fiona Davis. It's dual perspective, Egypt 1936. An anthropology student an archaeological dig in Egypt's Valley of the Kings, and New York City in 1978. Met Gala Museum party, something or other. Egypt archaeology, that's why I'm interested in it. But I've heard a lot of people talk about this and be interested in it for a lot of different reasons. So that should be interesting. I'm probably going to repeat myself a lot and say a lot of things are going to be interesting and so on and so forth. And a lot of ums and ahs. The Starlight Heir by Emily Howard. This is a romantasy. Mug of the evening. First mug of the evening. I don't know if there's anything particular about this one besides that it was a romantasy. And look at the cover. I mean, there's probably something with these that, like, I found interesting, but I'm not going to sit here and read silently to myself or out loud the entire synopsis. I'm just going to try and give you, like, a quick thing. Not that I'm very good at that. Let's see. We've got Wake Up and Open Your Eyes by Clay McLeod Chapman. This one is like a horror book, kind of apocalyptic. And it's really interesting with everything that's going on right now. So this says, from Vulture's master of horror, Clay McLeod Chapman. A relentless and emotionally charged social horror novel about a family on the run from a demonic possession epidemic that spreads through media. For fans of The Last of Us and When Evil Lurks. So I'm going to read you the first sentence of the entire synopsis and then take that with what I just read. Noah Fairchild has been losing his formerly polite Southern parents to far-right cable news for years. So when his mother leaves him a voicemail warning him that the Great Reawakening is here, he assumes it's related to one of the many conspiracy theories she believes in. This just sounds really interesting in general and with the context of everything going on in America right now. It sounds like it could be really good. Okay. We are still on January 7th, but only for one more book. We have Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. This is book 3 in the When in Rome series, which I have not read any of, but it seems to be one of those, like, mushy book series where you don't have to read them in order. They just, like, go together, kind of. But, it says, 2 feuding second grade teachers and neighbors find themselves teaming up in this rivals to lovers romance. But the thing that got me interested in it is, one of the main characters is a writer, so there's like a bookish element to it, so that's what got me interested in it. Then we have January 9th. North is the Night by Emily Rath. This is book 1 in a new series, the Tuonela Duet. I think this is a romantasy. 2 bold young women defy the gods and mortals, living and dead, in this darkly mythical Finnish folklore-inspired fantasy duology for readers of T. Kingfisher's Nettle and Bone, Danielle L. Jensen, Thea Guanzon, Jennifer L. Armentrout, and The Witch's Heart by Genevieve Gornichak. I don't remember anything else, but I was interested in it for some reason. Okay. January 14th, we have The Favorites by Lane Fargo. Oh, this is figure skating is why I was interested in this. One of the few sports that I have any remote interest in. To the world, they were a scandal. To each other, an obsession. An epic love story set in the sparkling, savage sphere of elite figure skating about a woman determined to carve her own path on and off the ice. So that should be interesting. See how many times I say interesting. I've heard multiple people talk about this one as well. Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. I mean, just the title, it's got a bookish element. Layla, don't chew on your leg. Layla. Sorry, my dog has allergies. Yeah, bookish element. It's even in the genre as books about books. Goodreads shows genres now. I think they're trying to compete with Storygraph, but I'm enjoying this. Because they have things that Storygraph doesn't, like books about books or vampires, which Storygraph needs to integrate because sometimes you just want to binge 20 vampire books in a month. I've heard about everybody talking about this one. Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. The first couple people I heard talk about, I was like, okay, it sounds interesting, but I don't know if I'm going to be interested in it. But there is a book and a librarian, and it's historical fiction. It's set in the 70s. It's unwed teenage mothers, which is kind of interesting to me. Like, it's kind of a buzzword, but it's not like a must-read buzzword. But then you add in a librarian and a book, and yeah, I'm going to be interested in it. I need to pay attention to dates. We're still on January 14th. Then we have a new book. Man, there's all the giveaways today. From one of the Duggars, People Pleaser, Breaking Free from the Burden of Imaginary Expectations by Ginger Duggar Ruolo. I've really enjoyed seeing a couple of them grow past the way they were raised and things they were taught as kids. And I'm looking forward to reading this one as well. Okay. We have The Last Room on the Left by Leah Conan. It says the caretaker at an isolated mountain hotel finds herself fighting for her life and sanity in this twisty, addictive thriller. Okay, I see book deal, so she's an author. I do like thrillers, and this one seems to be about an author, so bookish element, I am interested automatically. It doesn't, like, any hint of bookishness, and I'm going to be interested in it, but, like, that's a lot of us, right? This is a nonfiction. A Dangerous Idea, The Scopes Trial, The Original Fight Over Science in Schools by Debbie Levy. It's nonfiction. It sounds interesting. Something I would enjoy reading more about, especially living in America right now. Babylonia by Costanza Casati. I think this is a bit of a historical romantasy, Greek mythology retelling. Layla, stop licking your leg. In general, but nobody wants to hear that in the background if they have headphones on. This is about reimagines the rise to power of the Assyrian Empire's only female ruler, Semiramis, which I may have mispronounced. We have the next volume of Spy X Family by Tatsuya Endo. I am caught up with this series, and the next volume comes out January 14th. Volume 13 comes out in English. Still on January 14th. Okay. Come on. Come on, let me click it. Come on. Sorry, it's not letting me. There we go. Okay, We Lived on the Horizon by Erica Swiler. This is a sci-fi, possibly sci-fi fantasy. A novel about a bioprosthetic surgeon and her personal AI as they are drawn into a catastrophic war. It says, a complex, imaginative, and unforgettable novel grapples with concepts as varied as the human desire for utopia, body horror, and what the future holds for humanity and machine alike. So I think the utopia dystopia element was what I found interesting. Then we have Heavenly Bodies by Imani Eriru. I might have butchered that, I'm sorry. This is book 1 in a new series, Heavenly Bodies. This is a romantasy, YA for new adult, and dragons. First book in a dazzling new romantasy series that blends mythology and shadow magic with a tantalizing enemies to lovers romance that will rewrite the stars. Okay, that sounds interesting. Obviously, you put it on your list of books you want to read next year. This one kind of obviously a bookish element, The In-Between Bookstore by Edward Underhill. It's fantasy, sci-fi-ish. It has time travel. It's bookish. Alphabet soup. It says, a poignant, enchanting novel about a magical bookstore that transports a trans man through time and brings him face to face with his teenage self, offering him the chance of a lifetime to examine his life and identity to find a new beginning. Honestly, hadn't read much of what that one's about, just like, oh, bookstore, want to read. Okay, this one is, I haven't seen when it's coming out in English yet, so let me see if it's telling me that. No. Okay, so this is, it's coming out in Spanish and Castilian on January 16th. So I'm going to be waiting for the English one, obviously. But this is in Spanish, Esperanza, La Autobiografía, the autobiography of Pope Francis. It says Papa Francisco, but I think that's Pope Francis. The current Pope did an autobiography. They don't normally do that. Sounded kind of interesting. Kind of want to read it, but that is in Spanish, so I'll have to see when it comes out in English. Everybody knows this. Everybody is talking about this. Onyx Storm, book 3 in the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros, is out on January 21st. I have to finish reading Fourth Wing and then read Iron Flame. So I'm going to try to do that, but I do have this pre-ordered on Amazon, so I get the pretty edges and stuff. This series, not only is it dragons and romantasy and got my best friend that likes sci-fi into reading fantasy, before all of that, I heard that the main character has EDS and POTS, which is a rare representation, but unheard of in a book that everybody is raving about. And the amount of visibility it brings, it just makes me happy regardless of the book itself. So I've bought all of these. I will continue to buy the series because I like having things with representation on my shelves, and EDS and POTS representation is very rare and unheard of in books that are not like self-pub. So I do have this pre-ordered. I do need to read the first 2 books. Everybody's already raving about it. Okay, another C.M. Nascosta book. It's in the Cambric Creek universe. Full Moon Frenzy. This is book 3 in the Hemming Brothers series. This one's following Trap Hemming. Let's see. Okay, I've read the first book in this series, but not the second book. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, the first book in this series is book 3 in the original Cambric Creek series. So I need to read book 2 and then I can read this one. Although I don't know if you necessarily have to read them in order, especially since there's so many little series in the universe now, but so Hemming Brothers, there's going to be a werewolf in that one. Okay, we have another, what looks to be a new romantasy series, Iron and Embers, book 1 in The Ashes of Thesmar by Helen Schurer. I'm probably mispronouncing that. I have heard there are other series in this universe. I don't know if those need to be read first. I'm hoping not. Oh, this is January 28th. I'm sorry. Yeah, I am interested in this one. Full Moon Frenzy is January 24th, by the way. Okay, then we have We Are Watching by Allison Galen. This is January 28th. This is a thriller. A slick, riveting, and all too frighteningly plausible tale of psychological suspense where a single mother is desperate to protect her family as they become targets of a group of violent conspiracy theorists. There's a bookstore involved. I think she's an author. Bookish elements. Okay, so sorry about the wobbliness. I am overheating. Oh, too hot. My laptop gets really warm, so I have to have a blanket under it. But yeah, overheating. Continuing. The Outcast Mage by Annabelle Campbell on January 28th. This is book 1 in the Shattered Lands series. Fantasy, sci-fantasy, dragons. A mage bereft of her powers must find out if she is destined to save the world or destroy it. Debut fantasy. There might have been some other detail in some of these romantasies and other books that got me interested in them that I just don't remember and I'm not seeing because I'm trying to be We are 30 minutes into this video. I am trying to be quick. We're here on page 4 of 12. Okay, cool. This is going so efficiently. We're on to February. We have a nonfiction. Harriet Tubman, military scout and tenacious visionary, from her roots in Ghana to her legacy on the Eastern Shore. Now, this sounds interesting in general, but Alex and I were just talking, like, not that long ago about whether or not Harriet Tubman had any descendants, because I saw something about how they made her posthumously like a general or something like that. I might have the rank wrong, but something along those lines. And we were talking about whether or not she has any descendants, because if she did, there may or may not be benefits for them from that. And she didn't, that we saw. We were looking at like direct descendants. But then I saw this book is coming out, which sounds interesting anyway. And it's, I think one of the writers or somebody that worked with one of the writers is like her great-great-grandniece or something. So combined with that information, the conversation, and then this, I just like, okay, I have to read this. It says a fresh biography of this iconic American, and the first involving a Tubman family member since Harriet herself was interviewed in 1886. Yeah, this sounds cool, and I am looking forward to it. February 4th. Okay. This one, I remember. The Sable Cloak by Gail Melissa Grant. This is February 4th. It's historical fiction. It says an eye-opening atmospheric novel set in the South and Midwest during the time of Jim Crow that reveals a little-known part of American pre-civil rights history of black intrigue and power. It is set partially in St. Louis. Don't see a ton of books set in St. Louis, so automatically interested in this one. Let Us March On by Shara Moon. February 4th. This is another historical fiction. It's a novel inspired by the life of Lizzie McDuffie. She was a maid in FDR's White House. She spearheaded the civil rights movement of her time. She was a book nerd, bookish element, and it just sounds interesting. It says, I'm just a college-educated Southerner with a passion for books. My husband says I'm too bold, too sharp, too unrelenting. Others say I helped spearhead the civil rights movement of our time. President Roosevelt says I'm too spunky and spirited for my own good. Who am I? I'm Elizabeth Lizzie McDuffie, and this is my story. She proclaimed herself FDR's Secretary on Colored People's Affairs. Became the president's eyes and ears into the black community, and made herself indispensable. It sounds really interesting, and I don't know anything about her. I think I might have heard some stuff about her in passing, but I don't know for sure. If you told me her name, I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about her, so I'm interested in reading this. Then on February 6th, we have The Bookshop Below by Georgia Summers. Obviously, bookish element, so I'm interested. This doesn't have a cover yet. It says it's fantasy. In this extraordinary standalone, a disgraced bookseller is offered the chance to restore a magical bookshop to its former glory and enters a dark underworld of unscrupulous collectors, deadly ink magic, and shady societies. So, of course, bookish. Also on February 6th, we have Nephthys? I'm probably mispronouncing that, by Rachel Louise Driscoll. I'm sorry, the tea is making me burp, and but I need to drink things because I'm doing all the talking. This is historical fiction, Egyptian mythology retelling. Sister, rival, protector, the spellbinding story of a forgotten daughter and a forgotten goddess. I don't know if this is exactly retelling or if this is just talking about her. But yeah, it has something to do with Egyptian mythology and it's historical fiction. So, I mean, I definitely had that Egypt kick in like middle school, high school, that I think all of us had at some point. And it's also nice to see, like, in all these mythology related books that we've been getting the past few years, it's nice to see stuff other than Greek mythology. February 11th, we have Perfect Victims and the Politics of Appeal by Mohammed El Kurd. Let's see. This is a nonfiction. An urgent affirmation of the Palestinian condition of resistance and refusal, an ode to the steadfastness of a nation. Okay, this is about the situation in Palestine. Yeah, I want to read more about that. I don't know a ton besides everything that's... I know some, but I would like to read more and from that perspective as well, so... Okay, February 11th, we have The Queens of Crime by Marie Benedict. This is a bookish element. It's historical fiction, thriller. It's a thrilling story of Agatha Christie's legendary rival Dorothy Sayers, the race to solve a murder, and the power of friendship among women. It's set in London in 1930. The 5 greatest women crime writers have banded together to form a secret society with a single goal: show they are no longer willing to be treated as second-class citizens by their male counterparts in the legendary Detection Club. Led by the formidable Dorothy L. Sayers, the group includes Agatha Christie, Nigel Marsh, Marjorie Allingham, and Baroness Emma Orczy. They call themselves the Queens of Crime. Their plans solve an actual murder, that of a young woman found strangled in a park in France, who may have connections leading to the highest levels of the British establishment. It's inspired by a true story in Sayers' own life. So yeah, that sounded interesting, of course. Also on February 11th, we have You Are Fatally Invited by Andy Pliego. I'm probably butchering that. I apologize. It's a thriller. An exclusive thriller writer's retreat hosted on a private island turns lethal when one of the authors is found murdered in this twisty locked room mystery. I do like locked room mysteries, although they're not a automatic must read, but add a bookish element, and of course I want to read it. On February 18th, we have Cold as Hell by Kelly Armstrong. This is book 3 in the Haven's Rock series. I am not caught up on this. I haven't even started this series yet. So Kelly Armstrong is like an auto read author for me. So I do need to start this series. I think it's a spin-off from the Rockton series, which I DNF'd. I usually really like Kelly Armstrong, but that one was just a little bit slow for me. So we'll see how Haven's Rock goes. I would like to at least start this series this year, if not catch up on it. We have February 18th, The Bookstore Keepers by Alice Hoffman. I think this is a novella. It is book 3 in the Once a Time Bookshop Stories series. Yeah, it's a mushy, bookish novella with some magical realism. It's an Amazon Original Stories. I think I usually get these for free on my Kindle. But the other ones have just been short, little, cute, bookish stories. I am caught up on that series, so. Onwards to page 5. I have these, there's like 10 books a page on my Goodreads, so. Okay, February 18th still. Jane Austen's Bookshelf, A Rare Book Collector's Quest to Find the Women Writers Who Shaped a Legend by Rebecca Romney. This is a nonfiction. It's kind of obviously bookish. Kind of a biography. From rare book dealer and guest star of the hit show Pawn Stars, a page-turning literary adventure that introduces readers to the women writers who inspired Jane Austen and investigates why their books have disappeared from our shelves. Like, all of that sounds interesting. I enjoy Jane Austen, so yes. February 18th still. We have Hungerstone by Kat Dunn. I haven't been showing you guys the covers, have I? Sorry. Well, first off, this cover, this is a famous Gothic painting. It's on the cover of my Gothic literature textbook that I kept from that class. So already slightly interested in it, but wasn't a must read. It is a horror, fantasy, Gothic. I'm reading from the genres. Pretty sure what got me was vampires. Vampires, I'm automatically interested in, must read. Horror, fantasy, vampires, alphabet soup, Gothic, historical fiction. It's a retelling of something. Oh, Lenore. Carmilla. It's retelling of Carmilla. A thrillingly seductive sapphic romance for fans of S.T. Gibson's A Dowry of Blood and Amelia Hart's Wayward. Set against the violent wilderness of the Moors and the uncontrolled appetite of the Industrial Revolution, Hungerstone is a compulsive feminist reworking of Carmilla, the book that inspired Dracula, a captivating story of appetite and desire. Vampires and bookishness and Gothic? Yes, please. I want to read that. Okay. February 18th, we have Wooing the Witch Queen by Stephanie Burgess. This is book 1 in the Queens of Villainy series. Romantasy, witches, possibly sci-fantasy. In a gas-lamp-lit world where hags and ogres lurk in thick pine forests, 3 magical queens form an uneasy alliance to protect their lands from invasion, and love turns their world upside down. There is a Her Chaotic Library of Magic. That got me. When a mysterious dark wizard arrives at her castle, Saskia hires him as her new librarian on the spot. His requests seem a little strange. What in the name of Divine Elva is a fountain pen? So yeah, bookish element. I'm down. Okay, we've got 2 more C.M. Nescosta, both on February 19th. I don't know if they'll actually come out those days. They're both in her, Cambric Creek universe. The first one is Salene. It's book 4 in the Wheel of the Year series. I need to read book 3. I'm not caught up on that arm of Cambric Creek, so I need to do that. And then Reunions is supposed to come out the same day. That is book 4 in the Girls Weekend series. I have book 3 checked out from the library right now, so I need to read that and I'll be caught up. Then we have on February 25th, One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This by Omar El Akkad. I believe this is a non-fiction. C.M. Nescosta's Cambric Creek universe is smutty, mushy monster romance. If you've heard Morning Glory Milk and Yarn, that was the first book. And now there's different series within the universe. I really like the universe, so I keep reading them. Anyway, this book, One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This by Omar El Akkad, comes out February 25th. Non-fiction, politics, social justice, history, philosophy. A powerful reckoning with what it means to live in the heart of an empire which doesn't consider you fully human. I think this is talking about Gaza. And, current events and similar to the other one I mentioned, stuff I would like to learn more about relating in some way to stuff that's currently going on. Okay, February 25th, Swordheart by T. Kingfisher. I've heard that this was already out and that it's gotten picked up by like a different publisher that's been re-edited. There's a new cover with sprayed edges, some situation. Goodreads says it's part of the World of the White Rat series, but just like part of that universe. It looks like it originally came out in 2018, but I've heard a few people talk about this. This is a romantasy. Yeah, it sounded interesting, and the romantasy, and there's something about a sword, and some of Alex's sword nerdery has worn off on me. Okay, also on February 25th, we have Wicked Pursuit by Katie Robert. I have not gotten along with her Gods of Olympus series, but if you saw my best books of 2024 video, I am absolutely loving her Deal with the Demon series, and I'm really getting along with her Wicked Villain series. This book is the first book in a new series that I think is set in the same world as Wicked Villains. First book in the Black Rose Auction series. This is smutty. Read the trigger warnings. And I think this one is a Little Red Riding Hood remix. A mob princess with a taste for doing things she shouldn't acquires a stalker who will kill anyone who touches what's his. So yeah, this sounded interesting. I am curious to see if I like this as much as Wicked Villains. Another manga that I'm caught up on, Cat Plus Gamer. I love this. If you like cat manga, definitely recommend. Volume 7 is coming out in English on February 25th. This is by Wataru Nadatani. Also on February 25th, we have Book Boyfriend by Emily Wibberley. This is obviously bookish. It says Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Brokaw. Devoted fangirl meets hesitant fanboy in a swooning contemporary love letter to readers who adore fantasy worlds from the beloved authors of the Breakup Tour. Cool. Onwards to page 6. Okay. Also on February 25th, by Gillian McAllister, we have Famous Last Words. Can we please click the thing I want to click? This had a bookish element, I remember. It's a thriller. Bookish element thrillers seem to be a thing. Like author-related thrillers. That seems to be a thing this year. Yeah, she's a literary agent, this one. A hostage situation is developing in London. The police tell her Luke, her husband, is involved, but he isn't a hostage. Her husband, doting father, eternal optimist, is the gunman. So I'd heard a few people talk about that, then I heard the bookish element, and I was like, okay, yeah, I will want to read this. I try to keep books that I add to my TBR in general, not just new releases, to a minimum, but like, that's hard. Okay, now we're into March. March 4th, we have Fable for the End of the World by Ava Reed. I've heard multiple people talk about this. This is a romantasy, I think. I think there's a dystopian element. Romantasy, dystopian, alphabet soup. The dystopian would have been the big thing that got me, but the romantasy too. It says The Last of Us meets The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes in this standalone dystopian romance about survival, sacrifice, and love that risks everything. Definitely seemed like, from the descriptions I've heard, it seemed like if you like Hunger Games, you'll like this. Also, March 4th, we have Dragon Cursed by Elise Kova. Let's see. Pretty sure this is romantasy. It has no description. It just says watch a space for news, but romantasy with dragons. Cool sword cover. Author name is familiar. I don't remember why. Okay, if you watch Cafe Latte by the person who does that, Sia Melangi, has a new book coming out on March 11th. This is not yet the Cafe Latte book, although I know that is going through edits and stuff. This is The Witch Who Trades with Death, of course by Sia Melangi. This is a romantasy. It says a romantic fantasy where a young witch seeks her freedom by forging a deal with death. A young witch forced to play concubine for her empirical captor finally breaks free to find a life of her own, but even those with the power to call death cannot outrun their past. I am looking forward to reading this. I have pre-ordered this on Amazon. Because of Cafe Latte, Sia Melangi is a must-buy author for me. I actually just got this. I bought it with Christmas money. This is the first bind up of her novellas. I've read the first novella and it's really good. I read it on Kindle, but I wanted a paper copy because I read paper better. Yes, so this is a must-buy author for me. I have very few of those.
What?
Could I bother you for more tea?
Okay. Love you.
I love you.
You still live or whatever?
Yeah, I'm filming most unanticipated reads video for next year.
Introduce them.
Oh, this is, we call him Ziggy. His name is Sigismund, also known as Ziggy, Zig, Siggy, Zigzag, Ziggurat a couple of times. He's one of our babies. Okay.
He's the youngest baby.
Why is he damp?
Because I'm trying to set up my wet palette, and he ran in there, and I had to catch him, like, with my foot. Didn't step on him, just, like, stopped him, so he wouldn't jump onto a bunch of stuff and knock a bunch of stuff over, but my hands are wet. It's bringing him in here so he doesn't cause havoc and get himself hurt.
So now that we've had a cat interlude, almost an hour in, we have Story of My Life by Lucy Score. Ow. I'm still drinking this one.
Oh.
It's just almost gone.
Well, don't be so defensive. I didn't mean to hurt you, but...
Smack my foot.
I tapped your foot. You have a big bruise there I didn't know about.
Story of My Life by Lucy Score. This is book 1 in the Story Lake series. It says a small town rom-com. One of the main characters is an author, so there's a bookish element, which is why I'm interested in it. This looks like a mushy book. Okay, March 18th, we have Murder by Memory by Olivia Waite. This is the first book in the Dorothy Gentleman series. I mean, there's books all over the cover. I'm pretty sure this is a novella. It's a mystery, it's a novella, there's some alphabet soup, cozy mystery, sci fantasy. A memory called Empire meets Miss Marple in its cozy spaceborne mystery helmed by a no-nonsense formidable auntie of a detective. Yeah, there's a bookish element in this, so that's why I was interested. Okay, literally everybody is talking about this, probably even not book people. March 18th, Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. Book 0.5 in the Hunger Games series is coming out. Everybody is excited for this. And everybody wants to read it, so obviously. Moving on. Oh. Hi, Thor. Do you want to come say hi? Come here. Do we have another kitty cat interlude. Come here. He doesn't love when I pick him up. But this is Thor. Can you say hi? My orange baby. Okay, you're free to run. Okay, March 18th, we have The Buffalo Hunter Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. Excuse me. This is horror, historical fiction, indigenous. There are vampires. That's why I'm interested in it. There are vampires. A chilling historical horror novel set in the American West in 1912 following a Lutheran priest who transcribes the life of a vampire who haunts the fields of the Blackfeet Reservation looking for justice. There are vampires. I need to read it. Also on March 18th, we have O Sinners by Nicole Cuffey. This is literary fiction, so I don't know how that's going to go, but it's mystery thriller. I see cults. That might be why I was interested in it. A journalist investigates a seductive and mysterious cult and its leader, an enigmatic Vietnam War veteran, in this not-to-be-missed novel. The cultiness, I like reading about cults. That's probably what got me interested in it. Also on March 18th, this is a nonfiction. The Mesopotamian Riddle, an archaeologist, a soldier, a clergyman, and the race to decipher the world's oldest writing, by Joshua Hammer. This is a narrative nonfiction about cuneiform and deciphering it, and I am the nerd that is thrilled by that and really wants to read it, and was very excited that one of my libraries had it available for pre-order. Really hope I actually get to that one this year. Moving on to page 7. Okay. Also on March 18th, we have The Story She Left Behind by Patty Callahan Henry. Come on, open. Historical fiction, British mystery, inspired by a true literary mystery. The sweeping story of a legendary book, a lost mother and a daughter's search for them both. It's set in looks like there's dual perspectives. 1927 and 1952. Captivating novel of mystery and family legacy captures the profound longing for a mother and the evergreen allure of secrets. Bookish element, I am interested. Obviously, we have discussed this. Okay, on March 25th, we have This Book Will Bury Me by Ashley Winstead. I've heard quite a few people talk about this as well. It is a thriller, a chilling, compulsive story of the 5 amateur sleuths whose hunt for an elusive killer catapults them into danger as the world watches. I believe there was a bookish element to this, and that was why I was interested in it. Also, March 25th, we have a nonfiction, another one by Hallie Rubenhold. This is Story of a Murder, The Wives, the Mistress, and Dr. Crippen. Nonfiction, true crime. If you read or heard about the book The Five, it got a lot of hype on here. This is that same author, Hallie Rubenhold. Re-examines the events leading up to the infamous Crippen murder from the perspectives of the 3 women at the center of it all. That racket in the background is my naked guinea pig, Harvey. He is demanding probably carrots. Could you not? I don't know if I'm familiar with the Crippen murder, but this sounds interesting, and The Five was great, so I'm interested. On March 31st, we have another C.M. Costa. I don't know if all these are actually going to come out, but it's He Loves Me Not. This is another one in the Camera Creek universe. based on the cover, I'm guessing a Naga. Yeah, okay, not a fan of snakes, but I handled the spider one, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, in April 1st, Play Hard by Laura Leigh is supposed to come out. Book 2 in the Tempting Seals series. This is an auto-read author for me, as is C.M. Nescosta, if you haven't noticed. But this book, it's been meaning to come out for a while, so we'll see if it actually does. I have tea.
Lord, that pig is loud.
Yeah, if you want to hand him to me, while you grab him carrots or whatever it is he's wanting, I can show him off and everybody can see who's causing all of this racket.
Come here, old man.
Also on April 1st. Why would you publish books on April 1st? Nobody is going to trust that. We have The Thorns by Dawn Kurtagich. I am horribly mispronouncing this. This is Harvey. He is a skinny pig, naked guinea pig. He's very cute.
5 years old.
He's a menace. He needs to go to the groomer. He's my baby. Say hi. He's mad. He wants carrots. I'll hold him until you get back.
He's very mad.
This is a horror thriller. Says, in this hauntingly twisted tale, an author reconnects with an old boarding school friend, forcing her to reckon with their shared past and the imaginary creature she thought they left behind. Bookish element. Really, all of the author main characters in thrillers this year. Are you giving me kisses, Bubby? Should you go, baby? Good little baby. Also on April 1st, we have Where Shadows Meet by Patrice Caldwell. And let's see. Oh, this is vampires. That's why I'm interested in it. But apparently it is a romantasy and alphabet soup and YA. The dark and thrillingly romantic debut vampire fantasy that questions what it truly means to sacrifice for love. Okay. Another one on April 1st. This also has a bookish element.
You want to put him back, or do you want to feed him romaine?
You can have him.
Okay.
Because I know you probably won't be back for a minute. Oh, your hand's cold.
Because I'm handling romaine. He's very mad about it, but now he knows why, and he doesn't care anymore.
He loves to eat. Thor, you're adorable.
He's had a lot of carrots lately, so I think his vitamin C is pretty good. His skin is getting like a little dry, but I think it's just the fact that he's 5 years old.
Yeah, he needs to go to the groomer too. He's overdue.
He's really healthy, still super active.
Yeah.
Smart as a whip.
So also on April 1st, we have Any Trope But You by Victoria Levine. This is kind of obviously bookish. Okay, this is coming out in April, but it's a Christmassy contemporary mushy book. I'll say mushy or smutty to differentiate like what kind of romance it is, because those are very different. Like, they can be in the same book, but there's a big difference between if it's just a mushy book that might have some spicy scenes or if it's a smutty book. Best-selling romance author flees to Alaska to reinvent herself and write her first murder mystery, but the rugged resort proprietor soon has her fearing she's living in a rom-com plot instead in this earnestly spectacular debut by a stunning new voice. And on April 3rd, we have... Oh, I think this is not mine. Oh, good. That goes in the St. Louis bag. Thank you. Right, this is Fulvia, the woman who broke all the rules in ancient Rome by Jane Draycott. I might be interested in this, but this is mostly on here because Alex is interested in it. Because Rome and Alex. And then on April 8th, we have Don't Sleep with the Dead by Nguyen Vo. I hope I pronounced that right. The book she wrote a couple years ago, The Chosen, the Beautiful, this is a companion novel. Like, it's in the same universe but it's not like part of a series or anything. This is historical fiction, alphabet soup, still Gatsby retelling adjacent. Yeah, I still need to read The Chosen and the Beautiful. Hopefully, I will get that done and then I can read this. I don't think you have to read that first, but I would like to. But that one sounds really interesting. April 15th, we have Saga Volume 12 by Brian K. Vaughan. I am caught up on that series, so I am looking forward to the next volume. On April 22nd, we have Eat the Ones You Love by Sarah Maria Griffin. I think... Come on. I think, I heard something about Little Shop of Horrors with this. This is horror, sci-fantasy, alphabet soup, dark. I see romance. I don't think this has anything to do with Little Shop, but it sounds very much like there is a carnivorous plant workplace love affair. It sounds like if you like Little Shop, you will probably like this. So that looks interesting. Of course, obviously. How many times have I said that? Also on April 22nd, we have the new Emily Henry book that literally everybody's been talking about, Great Big Beautiful Life. I believe this had a bookish element, and I have liked all of her bookish books that I have read. On April 24th, we have Vanishing World by Sayaka Murata. I know this author has some other books that I was interested in that I have not read yet. This is translated from Japanese. Oh, it's a dystopian. That's probably why I was interested in it. Science fiction, speculative fiction, surprising and highly imaginative stories set in a version of Japan where sex between married couples has vanished and all children are born by artificial insemination. Yeah, this sounded really interesting. We don't have a cover yet, though, but it's not supposed to be out until April, so. This one sounded interesting, and Alex may or may not be interested in it as well. It's a nonfiction, April 29th. The Bible Says So, What We Get Right and Wrong About Scripture's Most Controversial Issues by Daniel McClellan. This, I think he does like TikToks or something, and this is from like an objective, science-y or historical point of view or something like that. That's why it sounded interesting. On April 29th also, we have Enigma by Rue Nix. There was another book by this author that I wanted to read. I even checked it out from the library. Haven't gotten around to reading yet. I know there's some kind of issue about AI art or something, but I haven't heard anything about this book with that. That's what I remember. This is a gothic, dark romantasy. A new breathtaking tale of unforgettable romance set in a dark academia world of secret societies, lush suspense, and sizzling sensuality. Yeah, Gothicana, that was the other book. I still want to read that. This one looks interesting too. Okay, Melissa De La Cruz is an auto-read author for me. We're on to May now. May 1st, When Stars Align. It's supposed to come out by Melissa De La Cruz. I don't know anything about this. I just know the author. So let's find out together. Three girls in Hollywood who thought they'd rule the world. Reality bites in a touching novel about success, friendship, and redemption. Okay, not something I'd normally pick up, but we shall see. It is definitely cold now. On May 6th, we have Lore Olympus Volume 8 by Rachel Smythe. Smythe? Have we decided how we say that yet? I'm caught up on the series, so I am looking forward to the next volume. Cup of tea number 1 down. Okay. That one's still cooling. On May 6th, also, My Name is Amelia Del Val by Isabel Allende. I might have probably butchered that. Title and author. This is translated historical fiction. A young writer journeys to South America to uncover the truth about her father and herself. Looks like it's set in 1866. So there's that bookish element. Supposedly on May 8th, we're supposed to get a first book in a new series by Cresta Cowell. Okay, she wrote How to Train Your Dragon, that series. The book series is different from the movies. Would highly recommend the book series. Paper or audio. The paper has amazing illustrations. The audio is done by David Tennant. Both are a great way to go. And then Wizards of Once. It's another series she did. Also really loved. Alex really loved that too. Like, he would not let me finish. We started reading the audiobook on a trip. He would not let me finish the book on my own. Like, he had to hear it too. So, loved that entire series. I'm convinced they're set in the same universe, but no confirmation on that. This is another dragon series by her. I've been hoping there would be more books like those two series. And this is Doom of the Darkwing. It's How to Train Your Dragon School. I don't know, but it seems to be related to How to Train Your Dragon, so I'm down for it. Oh. Okay. We are on to page 9. We're getting there. Okay, on May 8th, this does not have a cover yet, but Gunk by Saba Sams. An immersive story about love and the softening borders around what family can be. An intimate and tender exploration of love's possibilities. Gunk is an electrifying debut novel exploring love and desire, safety and destruction, chaos and control, and family in all its forms. I remember the person talking about this, the way they described it sounded interesting to me. On May 13th, we have Dream On, Ramona Riley by Ashley Herring Blake. Come on, you can click. This says lesbian in the genres, but I think this has bi rap in it, which was the reason why I was interested in it. It's an alphabet soup contemporary mushy book. A small town waitress and a Hollywood star's worlds collide in this new romance. One of the main characters, Ramona Riley, was a costume designer as well, so that's also a reason it's interesting to me. Maybe this is not the bi one. Maybe it's just a costume design thing. Yes, we shall see. On May 13th also, we have Awake in the Floating City by Susanna Kwan. No, I don't want to select it. I want to open it. Okay, so this is a dystopian, which would be why I'm interested in it. An utterly transporting debut novel about the unexpected relationship between an artist and the 130-year-old woman she cares for. Two of the last people living in a flooded San Francisco of the future, the home neither is ready to leave. Yeah, dystopia. I really enjoy dystopia. I haven't read them for quite a while. I've kind of avoided them because it's the 2020s and I live in America. So But I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I might can read some now, especially if they're like futuristic. Like, well, especially if they're drastically different. Say that. Okay, also May 13th we have The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. Okay, this is the first book in a series, the Devils series apparently. Horror, historical fiction, sci fantasy. I don't remember why this sounded interesting to me. I would think vampires, but it didn't say anything about vampires, so I don't know. But it's on the list. On May 20th, we have another new romantasy. This is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. This is the first book in the Stonewater Kingdom series. Romantasy, gothic, sci fantasy. Yeah, I've just heard quite a few people talk about it, and it sounds really interesting. On May 20th, we have another Kelly Armstrong book. This is Death at a Highland Wedding, which is book 4 in the Rip Through Time series. I think I have not started this series yet, but I'm really, really interested in it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Historical fiction, mysteries, time travel. Yeah. Yeah, I really need to start this series. Maybe I can catch up and read the new book when it comes out. We'll see. Also on May 20th, Dylan B. Hollis, he's on TikTok and does like recipes from old community cookbooks, has a second cookbook coming out. It is Baking Across America, a vintage recipe road trip. I've got that pre-ordered on Amazon. I have his first one. There's some cool stuff in there. On May 27th, we have A Fate Forged in Fire by Hazel McBride. I'm starting to have trouble speaking. This is the first book. This is too hot still. Oh my goodness, that's warm. In the Bonded to Beasts series. Romantasy, dragons. To become the first queen in centuries, a powerfully blessed blacksmith must use her wits and fire magic to overthrow the corrupt powers ruling her kingdom, while also fighting her growing desire for one of her dragon-riding adversaries. In the first book of a sizzling Celtic-inspired fantasy romance duology. Yes, please. I'm trying not to have my phone in front of my face, but like I need to see it. Okay, then we have a new book by Maggie Stiefvater. Okay, we're on June now. June 3rd. We have The Listeners by Maggie Stiefvater. She wrote Raven Boys, right? That series. So I don't think this is related to that at all. But this is a new book by her. Historical fiction, adult, magical realism, historical fantasy, World War II. And it looks like we're at January 1942. I think I was mostly interested in it because Maggie Stiefvater. So, we shall see. On June 3rd, also, we have The Unmapping by Denise S. Robbins. Okay, this is a science fiction dystopia. That would be why I'm interested in it. Okay, page 10 of 12. We're almost there. Okay, also on June 3rd, we have come on. 10 Incarnations of Rebellion by Vaishnavi Patel. This is the author that wrote Kaikeyi, which I have not yet read, but want to. This is a historical fiction fantasy. This is an alternate version of India that was never liberated from the British, and a young woman who will change the tides of history. Alternate history in any historical time period that I'm interested in is something I would be interested in. Extra points for this author who I know has done mythology stuff. I also definitely had an India kick in like middle school. So, looking forward to this. Also, June 3rd, we have, I think this is another romantasy. Come on. Fallen Gods by Rachel Van Dyken. And in the picture, like, not only does the cover look good, but the edges look good. I mean, I'm probably going to get this from the library, but still. This is book 1 in the Fallen Gods series. This is romantasy, but there is Norse mythology. So, I'm definitely interested in that. The main character, Liv Olsen, has been drawn to Norse mythology her entire life. After earning her degree and working as a curator at one of New York's most prestigious museums, she gets an unexpected offer for her dream job in Norway, the same place her brother disappeared months ago, after a cryptic message about finding their long-lost father. Her studies have always told her the gods are who you trust, but what happens when the man who's destined to kill you is your savior? And, like, from what I've heard, it says it's a myth retelling. From what I've heard, it's like she has studied Norse mythology. She's always been really interested in it. Her brother disappeared in Norway. She goes to Norway because she gets this job offer, and then she finds out maybe the mythology wasn't entirely fiction. So yeah, that would be a big one. On June 5th, we have A Box Full of Murders by Janice Hallett. This doesn't have a cover yet, and it's middle grade. It's a middle grade mystery, but it's a multimedia. I think there was a bookish element in this as well, but I don't entirely remember. Then on June 10th, we have a V.E. Schwab, Victoria Schwab book, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. Everything I've heard is that we don't know much about this besides that it's V.E. Schwab, and that's enough for some people. Vampires was all I needed to know, and I got interested in it. It's fantasy, vampires, alphabet soup, and it looks like it's set in 3 places. I'm just going to read you the whole description because there is not much. Santo Domingo de la Calzada in 1532, London in 1837, and Boston in 2019. 3 young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tingling like roots. One grows high, and one grows deep, and one grows wild, and all of them grow teeth. So there's not much there, but there are vampires. So I'm down. Also on June 10th, we have Coffee Shop in an Alternate Universe by C.B. Lee. This sounds kind of like the manga series that I really love. I don't remember the whole title, but it's like Bookshop in Another World or something like that. It reminded me of that. And it's cozy fantasy, alphabet soup. A geeky overachiever determined to save the world through science, and a troublemaking chosen one lashing out against her destiny meet and fall in love in a magical coffee shop as their two very different universes begin to collide. Sapphic, cozy fantasy YA romance. I feel like there was a bookish element. I don't remember, but like the description sounds good to me in general. So want to read that. This one I basically got worn down because so many people talked about it. It is the Baby Dragon Cafe. We're in July now, July 1st. The Baby Dragon Cafe by Amna Qureshi. Sorry. It's a cozy fantasy, mushy dragons book. It says it's perfect read for fans of Pumpkin Spice Cafe and Legends and Lattes. And it just sounds cute. It's a cafe with dragons and they keep setting stuff on fire. It sounds cute. Also on July 1st, we have Tenderly I Am Devoured by Lyndall Clipstone. This is a fantasy horror romantasy, possibly gothic. Perfect for fans of Saltburn, For the Wolf, and House of Hollow, Tenderly I Am Devoured is a moody, monstrously gothic romantasy. Excuse me. In which a young woman must bind herself to a dangerous chthonic demon with the help of the son of a rival family to save her family's legacy and herself from ruin. Yeah, looks interesting. On July 3rd, we have Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. This is the first book in the Evermore trilogy. The cover is gorgeous. It's a romantasy. It says it's tagged as fanfiction, but I don't know why or what it might be fanfiction of. Okay, there's another cover that's like kind of cool, but the cover that I'm seeing right now is like really cool. Okay, apparently it's Dramini fanfiction, and it was originally called The Auction. Looking at Goodreads comments. But yeah, Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. I don't know, but it looks interesting. I don't know about the Hermione aspect, but if I haven't finished reading Harry Potter yet, so I can probably ignore that. On July 15th, we have The Bewitching by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I don't think I've read anything by this author yet. I don't think I have. This is historical fiction, horror, fantasy. There are witches. 3 women in 3 different eras encounter danger and witchcraft in this eerie, multi-generational horror saga. Looks like there's a bookish element. And we're seeing 1990s Massachusetts. And then we're not in 1900s Mexico, she was told about it. So I think I was interested in this for the bookish element. Ow. Okay. Also on July 15th, Medievally Blonde by Kate Jacobs. Okay. This is a historical fiction romantasy inspired by Legally Blonde. It's called Medievally Blonde. How could I not want to read this? It says a princess desperate to win back the prince who broke her heart follows him to his kingdom's prestigious military academy, and in doing so falls in love, saves the realm, and continues to look fabulous in this romantic debut fantasy loosely inspired by Legally Blonde. How could I not want to read this? And how have I not heard more people talking about this? Okay, 2 more pages left. Okay, page 11. July 22nd. The Library at Hellbore by Cassandra Caw. I mean, obviously, there's library in the title. I am down. Come on, let's click. Come on, we're almost done. It looks like it's gonna have sprayed edges too. Horror, fantasy, alphabet soup, a deeply dark academia novel, perfect for fans of A Deadly Education and Alice 6 who are hungry for something a little more diabolical. Hellbore Technical Institute for the Gifted is the premier academy for the dangerously, the Antichrist and Ragnaroks, the World Eaters and Apocalypse Makers. Oh, it's been an hour and a half. I'm having a hard time talking at this point. But yeah, library, I'm down, and reading that bit of description sounds even more interesting. Then we're on to August. On August 5th, we have House of the Beast by Michelle Wong. Hair touching me. Romantasy, probably why I'm interested in it. Dark fantasy debut from the Legend of Korra graphic novel illustrator about a young woman who strikes a deal with a mysterious and alluring god to seek revenge on her aristocratic family. Featuring illustrations throughout by the author. Gripping fantasy novel marked by divine rituals, intense combat, and twisted romance. Tale of revenge, resilience, and the power of love to see us through the darkness. Yep, down for that. On August 12th, we have Blood Moon by Brittany S. Lewis. Book 1 in the Blood Moon series. Romantasy, werewolves, there are vampires, that would be why I'm down. Okay, on August 12th, we have Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle. This does not have a cover yet. It is horror, alphabet soup, Poker Face meets Contagion in this next novel. I really enjoyed Camp Damascus, and I need to read Bury Your Gaze. I think Camp Damascus was the one I read. I read one of his, and it was so good and made such good points and absolutely broke my brain, and I need to read the other ones. So this was on my list. There looks to also be a bi element, which is cool. A bisexual statistics professor who has convinced herself she might not exist. That sounds interesting. Yeah, I'm down. Also on August 12th, we have Too Old for This by Samantha Downing. This is about a retired, I just heard about this one today, a retired serial killer and a journalist comes, a retired serial killer's quiet life is upended by an unexpected visitor. To protect her secret, there's only one option left. What's another murder? Yeah, so this is a thriller. This sounds really interesting. Obviously want to read this. Also on August 12th, we have 13 Months Haunted by Jimmy Giuliano. This is a horror book. Okay, we're following Piper Lowry, who is a public library clerk in charge of liaising with the local middle school. So there's a bookish element and a librarian, and I'm interested. On August 26th, we have Lady Dragon by A.M. Strickland. Anything without a cover, I'm like questioning. This is out in August, so. Romantasy, alphabet soup, dragons. Seraphina meets the Pride of the Orange Tree. The Age of Queens is over unless they can save it. Yeah. Yep, this sounds good. Definitely on the dragon train with everybody else. On August 28th, everybody's been talking about this. We have Catabasis, which I don't know if I pronounced that right, by R.F. Kuang. We don't have a cover for this yet. It's romantasy, historical fiction, mythology. Dante's Inferno meets Susanna Clark's Piranesi in this all-new dark academia fantasy from R.F. Kuang, in which two graduate students must put aside their rivalry and journey to hell to save their professor's soul. perhaps at the cost of their own. Catabasis, noun, ancient Greek, the story of a hero's descent to the underworld. I haven't read R.F. Kuang yet, but everything has sounded really good and like something I want to read, so I need to do that. On August 29th, we have a nonfiction, Transforming the Shame Triangle from Shame to Love Using Parts Work by Jessica Fern. This is the author of Polysecure, which I highly recommend, either if you are wanting to read books about polyamory or if you just read the very first part. It is an excellent book about attachment theory. Highly recommend. Even if you only just read that and just read it for the therapy stuff, thoroughly recommend. So this is a new book from that author. And then we're on to September. As I've mentioned, Melissa De La Cruz is an auto read author for me. So on September 2nd, she has Rings of Fate coming out. I don't really know anything about this except it has really pretty edges in the picture. Like, oh, stop moving, would you? Can you like see that? Kind of. Cover looks cool. Edges look really cool. Oh, and Princess Bride meets the Wheel of Time, so I would need to read this anyway. Alex loves the Wheel of Time. I haven't started it yet, but I love Princess Bride, so you mentioned that it's like Princess Bride and I need to read it. This is going to be a romantasy. Yep, I need this. Okay, last page. Only 3 more books. We have one more in September. On September 23rd, Defanged by H.E. Edgman. Excuse me. This looks like it'll be a middle grade and vampires. And then on October 7th, we have Vampires at Sea by Lindsay Merbaum. Obviously, vampires, I'm interested in this. It's apparently horror alphabet soup. I don't really know much more about vampires. I'm interested. And then on November 25th, let me see if this is the English one. Yes, okay. Another manga series that I'm reading, My Dog is a Death God, Volume 2, is supposed to come out in English on November 25th. And this is by Mikito Chinen, illustrated by Ritsu Aozaki. Now let me see if I can find that Elizabeth Wheatley book. I will say, if you watch Hell's Bells on TikTok, the book for that, For Whom the Bell, Belle, Tolls, came out like yesterday. Right now, it's only on Kindle. I did pre-order. I have it on my Kindle, but I really want a paper copy. So I'm hoping that will come out soon. It's not really a 2025 release, but I wanted to mention it. Let me see if the new Elizabeth Wheatley book is on Amazon. Not Amazon. It's not on Amazon because I've been wanting to pre-order it, but it's not on there. Okay, I am not seeing it. But Elizabeth with an S, Wheatley with an EY, has a book coming out in February. It's like Tears of the Wolf or something like that. It's a romantasy, Norse mythology, well-researched Norse mythology. She does the Book Goblin series on like TikTok and YouTube and stuff. But she's also written quite a few things. I just ordered Dangerous Assassin, which sounds awesome. I ordered that with my Christmas Prime, but it's not here yet. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one too. That's in February, but it's just, She has a cover. She's been talking about it on YouTube, but it's just not on Goodreads or Amazon as yet. So that is everything. There might be more stuff that I get interested in, but I'm going to try to not add it to that list because I would like to try to get everything on that list read, which is a big ask. Not going to happen, but I would like to. The only things I'm going to try to add to that list now are if I finish a series, if I catch up on a series and the next book is out in 2025, then I'll add it. But that would be about it. Okay, my voice is done. I have tea to drink. This is my second mug of the day. First mug of the day is from, I told you I'm from St. Louis. This is the St. Louis Aquarium. And then this one is from the Missouri Civil War Museum at Jefferson Barracks. Happened to get 2 St. Louis mugs in a row. So, what books are you looking forward to next year? Is there anything that you think I would be interested in? You've seen what a lot of my buzzwords are. Is there anything Norse mythology that I haven't talked about? Anything bookish? Anything with vampires? Vampires seem to be coming back, and I'm here for it. I am excited about it. I'm also into really into the romancy. It's been almost 2 hours. I don't know if anybody actually watched this whole thing, but if you did, put a stack of books emoji. Don't normally ask people to put emojis, but like put one of those in the comments if you somehow watched this whole video. Oh, I'm gonna go rest my voice, go pass out. It's like 6:45 in the morning. My sleep schedule is so knackered. And I'm so awake and I shouldn't be. But questions, comments, opinions, let me know down below. That stack of books emoji, whatever. Unless something else occurs to me that I want to film, you probably won't see me for a few months. But enjoy the slew of videos. I'll see you guys next year.